All right. And we are live with a new episode, a Thursday special episode of ImmuniTEA Time. Will, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you, Daniel?
I'm good. Before we cheers, you hinted at getting a very special and beautiful, I think you said, guest for tonight's episode.
That is exactly what I said. And then
okay. And
she was
is this
sick.
who you were talking about?
No, she was sick. So unfortunately, we have Jamil.
Jamil, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be the replacement. Sorry, Will, I couldn't be everything you could have hoped for.
You know, but Jamil, you're still my favorite first boot of Wizco, so it's okay.
Thank you.
And Will had a hand in that too. All right, so now let's all cheers because I think Jamil has his drink too.
I do.
All right,
boys.
All right, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Crazy round. So like I said last week, we started a new format. We're going to bring on our guest later on after Will and I have analyzed what happened throughout the episode. So house husband of Atlanta, Joe himself, will be joining us later on the podcast. So stick around for that. And wow, what a crazy round. I mean, we should do you want to just start with touchy subjects first? Because I feel like there's a lot to talk about with the challenge itself.
I will say, because we didn't talk about this last week, just very quickly, and I thought about it again at the preview, is Emily saying to, I believe it was Emma, this was last episode, so we all know my memory, saying that she intentionally made sure that Richie survived on villains so that she could cut him at jury to have him run jury in her favor. Iconic. Like, you better work, Diva. I was very impressed. So just to I think that also kind of sets the tone of this episode, which I was just really, she impressed me more and more every episode. I love her.
Yeah.
Even though she's not on my team, fucking Team Dan. But
whose team is she on again?
It's okay. I'm still Team Snake. You could see it my name tonight. Jimmy the
Boa
Snake
Constrictor.
Hiss.
All right. Let's talk touchy subjects.
Speaking of Team Snake, this is about touchy subjects. Jimmy getting voted biggest hero is wild.
As one of the options. Yeah, it was a tie between Jimmy, Kira, and Joe.
Yeah, and Jimmy should not have been in that cluster. I don't agree with that at all.
Well, like Corey said, he doesn't know these people. So some of the people voting, clearly they don't know Jimmy. Otherwise, they would know he's not a hero.
Also, cheers, Dan, for another competition that we influenced. We're up to 2 already.
Oh, yes. We talked about touchy subjects with
the exes.
With Devin and Christian ahead of time, yes. And I did think it was a little more fun for me to watch, to see the strikes happen, see the decisions made by people on who they were going to eliminate. I do prefer this version. I know the players hate it because they have to show some cards, and that's why I love it so much. And I think it was telling that the last 4 people that were left were Corey, Emily, Ben, and Nolan. And that's not a coincidence. And I'm surprised more people weren't talking about that.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting that Emily had to choose between Corey and Nolan and kind of show her cards a little bit about where she laid with those two. And she, of course, ended up picking Corey, which I didn't totally surprise me that Nolan was more upset by that. I think he's pretty level-headed. I could see some people, I mean, personally, I would probably be like, are we good? What was that? But that's not his gameplay. So I think she's going to be okay. But had she had someone else, I think she could have gotten in trouble with that one.
Yeah, and there was some Ben and Nolan giving each other X's, and Emily actually thought that she actually fell for Ben and Nolan fake fighting with each other, which is like one of the most obvious Ben and Nolan things to ever happen. But again,
yeah,
Emily never met them before tonight, so that's fair. That's fair.
Well, even then, it's like another level of strategy. I think Kira kind of clocked it in her confessionals. Like, sometimes that's a strategy to just put an X on your ally so people don't know who you're working with and really like disguise that alliance. So I mean, I think, people know Ben and Nolan obviously on that cast are really good friends and everything like that. But yeah, Emily got totally duped by it.
Yeah. And Will, I'm curious, did you play along at home to make your own answers and see how many you got right?
I didn't, but I regret doing that now. I should have done that.
Yeah, I did. I got all of them except for most annoying. I mean, we're probably going to talk about most annoying a little bit later, but Ben was for sure my answer for most annoying. I thought like more people would be answering that too.
Didn't he also get it in Second Chance?
That's a good question. I don't remember.
I think he did.
This is odd. You remembering something and me forgetting.
I remember the shady challenges. I remember Ben and I tied for like thinks they're funny but isn't or something. Yeah, I think he also got most annoying. Anyway, yeah, I think that was all I had to say about.
Yeah, was there any outside of most annoying? Because I think that's the one that is going to get the most discussion as we talk later. Were there any of the other topics that surprised anyone? We had, biggest hero, biggest villain, bitter juror, stab in the back, biggest pick me. That was a tie between Ben and Jimmy, right?
Which that felt poetic.
It did, but I was still surprised Corey was the only one to say Ben as his answer when they were trying to get the point.
The Ben strategy, it was working.
It worked all the way to the end. Yeah.
I was surprised that, like, of all people, Corey was bothered by the GOAT question. As someone who used it in center stage mention, I think that's a very fair question, and especially if like we're gonna do a challenge where you show your cards and it's heroes versus villains, that is like a great villain question. Thank you very much. Ask who the GOAT is. Let's play the game again. I guess we keep dancing around it. We should just talk about it. I still think it's bullshit that Amelia was voted most annoying. I think she's the funniest person in this cast, and the fact that like, sorry, are you annoyed that you're not funny? Should I clock the people who haven't said any interesting confessionals all season? Because I will. Yeah, that was wild. The GOAT question's always hard, right? Like you have to pick someone, and I feel for her in that way. But and I don't know if I really have any strong opinions on who's the GOAT of this season, which is shocking. Usually I would have a strong opinion about that. But yeah, most annoying was wild for Amelia. That is not what I would have said.
I genuinely think it could be a case where Amelia just going into the game doesn't have a very tight alliance right now. And I don't think they necessarily even think she's the most annoying, but she's kind of on her own. And maybe people did think Ben's most annoying, but I'm working with Ben. I'm not going to put him down for that reason. Mm-hmm. And then Amelia is loud, which is not the same as annoying, but it can correspond that way to some people. If other people are more quiet, then they probably just don't think that. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to vote for the loudest person because that's probably what the most other people are voting for. And so I agree that it's not correct. Amelia is the most entertaining person on this season so far to me. Every time she is on the screen, I am just completely enthralled. And so that was the saddest part of the episode for me, was that we didn't get as much Amelia on our screens tonight.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you're saying, Dan. I was going to say, I think people really misconstrued it as maybe the loudest, because, I mean, she is a big personality. We all know that. Like, we all love her for it. So I do think that some of that got misconstrued in that fact. And, it hurt Amelia's time this episode, which sucked.
Yeah, and I can see that getting both of those back to back. And I'm sure the GOAT one was a tiebreaker one, so people had to answer on the spot. And again, if she doesn't have a tight alliance and she already was voted for most annoying earlier, then people would just, kind of pool the both of those together. But it does suck for her to get that double whammy. And sucks that it also caused her to not get as much time to make more connections in the game. It saved her for this round, actually. Enough people didn't even want to put her into consideration afterwards. Mm-hmm. So in that way, it helped her. But double-sided sword where it sucks that she wasn't able to make more connections to further in future rounds. But at least she got through this one.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Amelia is, and then, we can start to transition to the post comp. But I think the other thing with Amelia is that, she has kind of been like in and out of this larger group alliance, but it seems like it hasn't really manifested as much as it was seeming that way at one point. And at least for me, if I'm going to vote someone to be the GOAT, it's someone who I don't really know what their game is, so that therefore why would I vote for them at the end, because I don't really know what game they're pitching. So it's not necessarily that they don't have one, it's just that I don't know what it is. So like, I also think this could bode well for her, like Kira was saying, right? That you want to vote for someone in something like that, to downplay how well they're doing. So whether that's true or not for her, it then gives her leverage to last longer in the game, that even if it is true, she can turn it around. So I'm actually excited that this hopefully is going to buy her more time. Like now she's not going to be perceived as a target. And she has, more time to gain, more time to get back in that larger alliance and let some of these big players shoot at each other, which we're already seeing. We'll get more into. We're already seeing with the, oh, we're all going to vote together. Jimmy's in that. And the next thing you know, now we're trying to throw Jimmy under the bus. So I'm not just saying that because it's Team Will. I really thought those 5 were solid. Then within an hour, everything's apart.
Yeah, it was a total mess. Before we get to the mess, just wanted to say congrats to Ben for finally winning the biggest pre-gamer award. I think he still should have gotten that last season too, but never wrong, just early. He got it this time around. Controlled the last vote being Dakota though. That one,
that was another
even
one.
Dakota was like, what?
Yeah.
And it was the corner of Ben, Jimmy, and Joe that all said Dakota. So I don't know if they were just like, because we want it to be Dakota out next to try and put a target on her. Otherwise, I don't really see the reasoning behind answering it as Dakota.
I agree, but I also, like, if I remember correctly, because we saw these votes, I think it was 2 people, right? Out of, doing quick math, 10, there were 2, so 8. 2 out of 8, and Dakota's not voting herself, so I guess like 2 out of 7 technically. Yeah, I think it was all over the map, which also then makes you question with like the Amelia annoying or some of the others, like how many of these were a 2 or 3 person vote. It was just that everyone was so all over the map.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't remember who voted for Dakota for that, but I agree with you, Dan, that it would only make sense if you're trying to put a target on her, but then no one really did. So I wasn't really sure what the logic was there.
Yeah, and also before we go on from the challenge, I saw that Devin asked us specifically, what did we think of the questions he asked this time overall? Did we like them? Do we think there could be better ones? Is there any suggestions?
I mean, I think they were pretty spicy overall. Like, obviously, I live for the drama, and like anything to shake the game up by any means is just more entertaining for the viewers. So, like, anything to just kind of throw seeds of doubt in anybody's mind, like, yeah, give it to me. Like, I'm here for it all day. So, I mean, I loved the questions. I think even the very last question that we kind of on the spot like created, which I think that was like a Devin shout out to Maris, I think, who also came up with that. But yeah, no, I thought they were great.
Yeah, I didn't have any strong opinions either way. I think, I always love, like Jamil, I love the shady ones. I love ones that are going to stir up the drama, as we all know, if you've seen me play. So like the GOAT question, who's most likely to turn on their alliance, was one I had in center stage. I think there was something similar here. I think it was Ben got one. It was like, who's most likely to backstab? It was something like that, right? Like, I love those things. Like, let's talk about our true thoughts, feelings, and opinions, because you're screwed, right? Because either you're honest, then now we know where the house stands, or you lie, because like Kira was saying, you want to try to sway opinions, but then even still, that's still drama and commotion, which clearly we saw this episode. It may not have been, completely from the challenge, but definitely has an impact, which going into Final 10 is what we should be seeing. So I loved it.
I loved it too. I think it did exactly what it needed to do. Okay. Then I think we're good to start talking about this mess, because where do we even start with the mess?
It was crazy. Let's just say, I mean, obviously being on site, you may have seen it. Like, it was actually diabolical, like how everyone was scrambling and everything. Like, it was, I mean, we saw it there. Everybody's name just about got brought up, I think, that round. Like, it was left, right, and center. And even to the last minute, like, things weren't concrete. Like, it was, I mean, we saw Tribal went live, but
yeah, I mean, I'm skimming through my notes, and I had said earlier that Jimmy was the only name that wasn't said, but then of course his was minutes after I said that. I think Emma's actually was the only name that wasn't said. I think
I don't remember her name being
was either brought up in a confessional or brought up to other people, and hers was the only one, which we can get into. But yeah, to your point, Jamil, every single person except Emma got brought up at least once.
Yeah, was Kira brought up? I don't know. Okay,
she was, like, briefly, but then shut down. And like Jimmy or was it Kira was saying it, like how she heard the story from two different sides saying that they both, each side said that they were the ones to shut it down. So
yeah, and at the beginning, Kira said Corey and Dakota. At the beginning, too, Nolan in his confessional said, "I want Kira, but it's too early. I'm okay with Dakota or Corey or someone else first." But that he's like, "I'm keeping an eye." So that's why I said some people were confessionals too. They weren't like for this episode, but they're like, "I'm starting to get," which we haven't. You know, there have been some people who haven't even gotten that in the season. But yeah, I always like to say who I think, because I love Social Game, as we know. I always like to note who I think is in a good spot. I think the fact that Emma wasn't brought up by any single person, I give her props.
Yeah.
Me too. I was happy that we're seeing more of Emma now. I mean, Jamil, you know about the audio issues we had on Heroes Tribe.
You know, let's not talk about those. By the merge, everything's great at the merge, so we're good. We're locked.
We're doing great now, which I appreciate, because now we're finally getting to see Emma, and she's giving us personality too. I forget the exact quote she had, but I loved it. That was it about her name not coming up? I don't even remember. I know when she was voting out Joe, she's like, "I don't really want to do this, but if it's not you and you're still here, well, hope we still work together."
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think we'll talk to Joe later. I think he probably still would have worked with Emma if he was still alive.
Oh, 100%. I get that. I also really, what I love about Emma is there's certain players. I have to go back to watch 8 and 9 to say this with confidence, but I could see you being a player like this, Dan, where like more of a silent killer pre-jury, but then once jury hits, then start getting a little bit more loud and more outspoken and are more comfortable, like really shooting the shot. And I'm seeing that with Emma, and I like it. It's like we don't really get to know those players in pre-jury because they want to kind of let the tribe take the lead. But then once it's like every person for themselves, you see them taking more of the lead on things, having more of the conversations, really speaking their mind about what game they want to play. So yeah, like you said, it's been really nice to get to see like who Emma is.
And I think especially from Emma's position, she kind of had to make sure she played that role and identified it fast, especially with starting out right out the gate. Everyone knows she's good friends with Connor outside the game. She gets pitched an ultimatum, obviously takes it, because what other choice does she have? And works out with her to get well integrated with the new era of people who ran the Heroes Tribe at that point, and it allowed her to get to Merge. And now that she's at Merge, she's not even seen as like bottom of the totem pole anymore. And like we saw, no one's talking about her right now. We'll see if that stays the same, but I like where she's at for the time being.
Yeah, and I think like for her, like it's really because early in the game she really integrated herself with the new era very well. Like obviously she had her connections with the old era, so like making sure she essentially has these old friends coming into the merge, but also these newfound alliances she created early on in the game. It set her up perfectly where, once again, yeah, she's the only name that's not brought up because of that.
Yeah, I'd say the main downside, really the only negative for Emma this episode, is that Joe goes, because Joe was such a good ally for her and was always going to be a target ahead of her too. And so it does suck to lose like a really good ally. Like Kira and Joe are pretty much the most loyal allies to Emma, but she does have another alliance forming called the Ben Alliance with Ben, herself, Emma, and Nolan. Kind of like the Dab idea, just using the initials to spell it out, but it's another layer because it just is Ben. So I don't know, how loyal do we think Emma is with this alliance? Is it more of a convenience thing for her?
So I will say something I've noticed about Emma's game is she is someone who, which I guess you could say about a lot of people in Survivor, but I don't know if I necessarily play this way. Like she's someone who uses information as a bond of loyalty. Like some people use a vote, other people use information, other people use, all sorts of things. Like she told Nolan that his name was out there. She didn't have to do that. I think a lot of people, especially with a player like Nolan, would keep that secret, like let the big target find out for himself, like let's take the shot. So to me, I think if she's going out of her way to like give him a heads up, I think at least for now, she's set on this, and that was a bridge being built to be like, hey, I'm the first person who's going to tell you. So, that's, trust me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's with Nolan specifically, when everyone knows Nolan has an idol too, I think it almost behooves her to, well, one, make that connection, because even if she doesn't and he still plays it and saves himself, he's still here. So you may as well make sure you're in his good graces going forward. And you also, by telling him maybe he will play it, which we know he does when he doesn't need to, and that idol's gone too. So I don't think, especially from Emma's spot, you should be telling Nolan this. Make more connections, keep yourself alive longer, keep the target elsewhere, maybe flush an idol or two. But yeah, good episode for Emma. Should we talk Nolan for a bit? Because his name came up a little bit at the start and then quickly vanished.
I mean, I think that just came down to, like, once again, like a public idol. It's like everybody is scared of it because the person knows that their information's out there. So it's like, do you want to take the gamble of voting this person and they're gonna play it and your vote's basically meaningless? And like, so, you know, Nolan's obviously a talk of the town for a lot of the episode. And I mean, once again, obviously we see him play the idol, which once again, second time this season, plays it for no reason, essentially. So good on you, Nolan. But I don't know. I struggle with Nolan because he does things that, because he has an idol, he gets a little too messy and just for no reason. And I just don't know. Like I said, 2 idol plays where I think both tribals, he didn't have a vote against them, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So it's just like, get this man away from advantages at all costs. Like, he doesn't need it.
He's trying to use them in different ways. The first time he was trying to do it to establish loyalty, which didn't work because Emily was actually mad that he played the idol because she said, "No, I'm your ally. Don't do that." And made her target him for a little bit, at least, even if she's over that for now. And then this time around, it was half bluff, half trying to make sure Dakota also played her idol to at least flush Dakota's idol. I don't know that he necessarily had to. I don't know. It was a tricky spot for Dakota at the end there. Jimmy originally tells her that she needs to play her idol. And then Nolan also gets up, not even really saying if he's going to play it for himself or not, even though we all know Nolan's going to just play it for himself. And almost sits back down with it. But Dakota, I guess, hadn't actually technically played hers yet. And so they come to an agreement to both play their idol. So I guess at least did something, maybe. But
well, I have more thoughts on that when we get to tribal. But
sure, yeah, we got a little ahead of ourselves there. But yeah, Nolan, this round at least, was able to get the target off himself again. We see him, Emily, Corey, and Ben again, that 4 that seem to be right in the middle of everything right now, making their decision. They quickly land on Joe as an original target. And with the 4 of them and there being 10 people, they really only need 1 or 2 more votes, depending on how divided everyone else is. And Joe's name catches fire pretty quickly. Who do we know who was the first one to really push for Joe? I know Nolan mentioned last week and then kind of said again he wanted Joe gone. Yeah. Was there anyone else from that 4 that was really pushing for Joe specifically?
So I remember, like, because that was a highlight for me in the episode, because I remember Corey saying, "I don't want to go for either of the names that were on the table," which I believe were Amelia and I don't know who the other
Dakota. Yeah,
and was like, "Hey, well, we got 4 here. Let's go on another option." Corey specifically, like, conducts this but doesn't really throw a name out and is like, "Well, who's strong?" Blah blah blah. And that's when Nolan says, like, you know, "Oh, Joe's good at puzzles." Blah blah blah. And everybody in the room kind of just jumps in on it. And they're like, "Let's do that then." Blah blah blah. Let's run with that. So that's kind of how that went down.
Yeah. When he was talking about, like, big threats, and I don't know if you both clocked it, but you see Emily and Corey are looking down like, and Ben and Nolan give each other side eye and they're smirking. And my first thought was they're going to flip on Jimmy. And Dan and I were kind of metagaming it. We were saying with the name of the episode, it probably wouldn't be Jimmy. But that aside, I saw them smirking. I was like, these 2 little rugrats are going to try to flip on my boa constrictor. But what was I going to say? But yeah, like you said, Jamil, then they ended up figuring out with Joe.
Yeah, it got close. I think it came too late that Emily all of a sudden goes, "Actually, I want Jimmy to be gone." And I think it was just too late in the round to actually get that to happen. And obviously, I think for Ben and Nolan, it's way better for them to keep Jimmy, who is actually going to be working with them, whereas Joe is more of an ally for Kira, Jimmy, and Emma. And so it makes way more sense for Ben and Nolan to stay with the Joe vote. And especially that late in the round, it's going to be hard to move it back against someone else.
Yeah, that I mean, that's the struggle, is like, when do you think is a good time, suitable time to push a name? And like, yeah, for Emily, I think like, had she had a little bit more time, like maybe there's some traction, because, you know, she mentions it to Kira and Kira kind of goes to fact check with somebody else and they're like, didn't hear that name. So it's just like, didn't get enough time to really get to the networks to really get the plan going. So obviously it just kind of falls through, and they just kind of sit back and, you know, leave it on Joe essentially.
And Jimmy originally tells Emily he heard her name and then can't remember who said it, which one, very suspicious to do that. He eventually goes, oh, it was Emma and Dakota. And then later is when Emily says that to Kira that Jimmy said that Kira said Emily's name, because Kira was also in that group, but Jimmy apparently didn't even realize that Kira was also there. And so, but he goes, yeah, I definitely didn't say that. But yeah, Emily continues to stir the pot and is just getting everyone in a state of chaos, even though it didn't go her way this round. I mean, I think a lot of the chaos was a result of Emily. Well, really the 4-pack of them. But well, Corey actually was more calm this round. He got the immunity necklace. We didn't even mention that earlier. And I think it was really good he did, because his name for sure would have come up if he wasn't immune.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I have some, not a lot, but some concern for Emily in that, as she said to Jimmy, either we're all against each other or we're all with each other. And as I learned in Second Chance with Amaris, shout out Amaris, when you're a big threat, you can't shoot the other big threats, or you're gonna cannibalize each other. And then someone like my good friend Dan is going to shield his way behind all of the infighting and make it to the end. And so I just worry that she's taking a shot way too early, and now there's going to be all of this infighting, and you know, the other people like Emma, or like, I'm trying to think who's there. I guess Joe's gone, but yeah, Emma comes right to mind as like a perfect person to like let all the infighting go. She's very great, socially connected, and take it. So I'm not just saying that because it's Team Jimmy. Or Team Will, Team Snake. I really do worry for Emily after taking that shot, but I'm curious to see what happens next episode.
Yeah, and I think the more she spreads information around, the more everyone's going to know, oh, Emily is spreading more information around, and it kind of does make her more of a target. I am curious to watch it play out, to see how she will navigate that. She'll probably spin even more stories and see if that throws people off her scent more. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah. Or if other people are more concerned about the other big targets that are around her and just save her for later. Because I can't tell at the end of this episode where her and Kira are actually at. Because it seems like when they talk to each other, they're fine with each other, but you don't know how real either of them are being. Do you have a vibe? I'm not asking Jamil since he was on production, but Will, do you have a vibe for where these two would feel about each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think I might have said this last pod, but I feel like they are still sussing each other out. I think they both understand that they are very strong women, very strong players, and that they're kind of like shaking with one hand, like shaking hands with one hand and have a knife behind their back with the other. Like they're just kind of ready to see who strikes first. But that they both understand that they, could be a formidable alliance if they had enough trust in each other. But they both know that one is very much a hero and one's very much a villain, or at least Emily is this season. I heard differently from other seasons, but this season she's a great villain. I think they're just trying to figure it out. So I don't know that they're necessarily going to shoot at each other. I kind of see them as, I kind of see two sides of the house forming a little bit, and I feel like they're kind of in, they're almost like causing the two sides to fight, but trying to ride the middle of it, maybe, but in different ways. But yeah, I don't know. To shift gears a little bit. I'm trying to put my finger on Nolan and Ben, because Ben keeps running around saying he's not with Nolan, and I'm wondering how much of that is real / to like get people confused, and how much of it is just a game. Because as we've seen with Ben with Vincent, whenever he plays with his friends, everything is a joke. So I just never know what's real and what's fake anymore.
I guarantee Ben and Nolan aren't turning on each other. I think a win for either of them is a win for the other in their minds. I don't see, if we looked at their own spreadsheet they made of each other, they would have an unbreakable bond between the two of them. So
shout out the unbreakable
spreadsheets. Shout out. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're fine flipping on literally anyone else, but I don't think they'll ever flip on each other. So someone else will have to be the one to break them up. And what was Devin said that Emily brought it up about Ben and Nolan doing a bit. Yeah, because Emily fell for it at first, but then they cleared it up, which was actually kind of a funny moment where Ben's like, wait, what? Is Nolan actually mad? And then Nolan shows up. He goes, no, I'm not mad at all.
That was, great timing.
So Emily learning a lot about the two of them in that moment. How Ben, this episode had a solid episode, I think. For a while, he was the last one to get a strike during the challenge. He eventually, obviously, was out of the challenge. But I was like, how is no one putting an X on Ben's name right now? His missed, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, he is very well insulated, opposite. And yeah, I mean, it seems like this episode, like, there's this common understanding that Ben is the threat that everyone's going to get out at some point. So it's just like, let's just bring him along as we can. And I told Ben that going into the season. I think I feel we play very different games, but I feel aligned with him in that way, that he's, I think the more he plays, falling into the infamous 5 to 7 spot. You kind of drag him to the end, he's an extra vote for you, and then you cut him as soon as you can. So I'm not totally surprised to hear that people are already having conversations about like, yeah, Ben's fine at some point, let's worry about other people in the interim.
Yeah, me neither. And I think also just a thought that came to mind that is a completely different topic. Nolan does mention not being mad about getting rid of Corey soon too, right? I think he said that in one of his confessionals. So that would be interesting if he actually wants to go that way, because so far he's been super loyal to Corey and Emily. But maybe if he does say, I think to Ben in an earlier episode, he feels closer with Emily than Corey. So I think that could just be another way to, now Emily is with Ben and Nolan and doesn't have another person out of that 4 to lean on. So I guess the timing, if they do decide to do that, would also be interesting.
Well, because even Nolan at the beginning of the episode says that he'd be fine if they cut Corey or Dakota.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So, yeah, I mean, I think, sorry, I thought you were talking about Ben.
Oh, no, I was talking about Corey.
But yeah, I think that Corey cut his idiots and now he's losing his allies. So, that's karma's a bitch. Which is also why you continue to be worried about Jimmy. I'm really not. I think Corey's in an equally difficult position. I think he's also going to be on an island very soon. So I don't think Jimmy's the only one that's in a bad spot.
Even though it was a quieter episode for Corey, I really enjoyed his commentary this round. Well, one, sticking up for Amelia, because I'll always love someone sticking up for Amelia. But then two, just the commentary on the chaos ensuing around him and how psychotic all of the new era players are compared to maybe past seasons he has played on. But I think he can say how crazy we are. He's got the crazy too. We've seen it come from him. So
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give Corey his flowers for sure, because like obviously winning immunity obviously is already like putting a big target on yourself, because you've demonstrated that you can win challenges. I know touchy subjects is kind of a crapshoot of a challenge, but regardless, people are going to be counting immunity wins as something like, in the game. That's just natural. But I think utilizing the safety within the round is very pivotal. So like obviously we don't get any footage of it, but like get a lot of conversing with Amelia like during the time that we don't see Amelia at all during the episode pretty much. And I think this was a good episode for him in the fact of like, if you're immune, utilize the time to, build up your numbers, build relationships, whatever it may be, kind of thing. I wish we would have got the footage, but Amelia, shout out Amelia, said don't need to be filmed right now, so we did not film her. But I think Corey I think Corey had a good episode.
I really relate to Corey in the horns of a villain, heart of a hero. I appreciate that. Last episode, he was like, I feel awful for Richie. This episode, he's like, Camellia, Jesus, my God, I'm not even tipsy on this tea. But yeah, that like, no one's going to screw with my girl Amelia, and really going to bat for her and saying that everyone's an asshole for even considering voting her out. So I appreciate him, and the fact that he said that he was like, Jimmy was never an option. Like Kira goes up to him and is like, hey, I heard you're voting for Jimmy. He's like, no. So again, I think that he's in a solid spot with Jimmy. I don't think that they're gonna have a problem. Speaking of Amelia, she probably had some of the least screen time and was still the more memorable of the cast. So props to my girl.
Thoughts on her B pose?
My favorite. I hope she does every confession like that. I totally get why she didn't do it in the voting booth, but I
would have been tough to pull off.
Yeah, I got to film both the voting confessional and her regular confessional. I was trying so hard not to laugh behind the camera because, like, once again, she is great TV. I always love seeing Amelia. So, like, yeah, no, she's amazing. Hopefully, moving into the next episode, we kind of see her kind of come out of that slump a little bit. But still always great every time she's on the screen.
Yeah. A few more people I want to talk about before we can finally bring on our guest of honor. Well, let's talk about Amelia's adversary. Well, actually, no, let's wait on Dakota, since when we get to the very end, we talk more about the idols. Let's talk about Jimmy for a second then. He finds the watcher advantage or whatever. Watchful eye? Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clever name, Devin. So he can at any point declare it as his advantage at tribal and go in with anyone to see who they're voting for. And he wants to use it in combination with his idol. He still thinks he can get that back from Nolan for some reason, as if it was ever a smart idea to give it to Nolan in the first place. Happy anniversary, Jimmy.
We'll get to that. But yeah, I think that he's smart to say that he wants to use it against or in conjunction with Jimmy or Emily, because he doesn't feel that they're super trustworthy. My hope is that if he uses it with Corey, I could see it as a like solidification of trust, because I feel like Emily's flipping on both of them quickly, so that could also bond them closer. Yeah, we'll save tribal for a separate section, but I think Jimmy had a great episode.
Yeah, and Kira, we've talked about for a bit. Again, sucks for Kira to lose Joe here, but at least the fact that her name came up and was quickly, dismissed, didn't gain any traction at all. That's still a plus for Kira. She still has a lot of allies in the game. Glad to see it. It was definitely just a clusterfuck of a round, and she found a way to get through it with also writing Joe's name down was the correct decision. So because everyone else wrote it down, so there's not like she threw a stray vote on someone that could come back to backfire on her. Yeah. So she at least made the good call there. And I think made the best of a bad situation, but I think she's still overall well-positioned.
Yeah. I think it's crazy too, because I don't know how many people it was regarding the Joe vote, but I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, there was Emma, Kira, and Dakota. There was 3 of them. I don't know if there was more that were all like, I don't want to do Joe, but they're like, let's just do it anyway. I'm like, I'm just kind of sitting there like, dang, like, why did we not go for something else? Or like, you know what I mean? It's so crazy to see so many people are like, I don't want Joe to go, but they're all like, he's expendable. Let's just take him out.
And I think it comes down to that's the name that had the most traction that round. And so when there's that much uncertainty, you want to make sure that you're the one that's safe. I mean, that's why it made sense Jimmy's going to vote Joe, because that's the other name that had the traction, especially when his was brought up at the end. Self-preservation, you have to kind of go that route at that point. If nothing else was working throughout the rest of the round. But yeah, so Kira, solid round, still rough to lose Joe. Should we talk? We can talk a little bit about Joe, but I mean, we're going to talk with Joe. Should we just save all of our Joe comments for when Joe's here?
Yeah, I think for the most part.
Yeah. So then, do we want to then talk about the last thing before we bring Joe on and the idol plays that we started to talk about that happened at Tribal?
I think the only thing that I'll say, and I've been saying this all season, is that I really want to see more from Dakota. We saw some more this episode, and I was really glad to see it. That like she was still hesitant to throw out a name, but she was like pushing Nolan all episode, and I was like, "You better work, girl! Like, get his ass out." But then it kind of like trailed off, or then she's like, "I want to split people up," and names Kira and Emily again. Really great insight. Like that makes total sense, but then never really tells anyone about it. I'm like, I hope that we see more momentum from Dakota, which then can transition me into Tribal. And I'm honestly, especially with her being on the Heroes Tribe, I'm hoping that this idol moment is an origin story and that we just see her burn this fucking house down.
No, Dakota was on the Villains Tribe, actually.
That's what I'm saying. So like, but I haven't seen the villain from the Villains Tribe. So like, I'm hoping that this is her like true to form villain origin story. And that like, she really likes the match.
Well, yeah, because everyone knows about Dakota's idol this round and she only told Emily. Mm-hmm. So there's only one way that everyone could know about that teabag idol, and it's because of Emily. And Emily was the person she seemed to have trusted the most at this point. Mm-hmm. And so, we'll see how that plays out going forward, because Dakota's been having a hard time deciding who she can trust. In fact, she wrote off Emma, who's close friends with her outside the game, just being like, no, Emma's good at these games. She's shady, but maybe she should have tried to go for a working relationship with Emma. I mean, Emma's pretty open to working with anyone. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. Kind of going off of what Will was saying is like, yeah, like we'll see her like up until this point, like she'll say this, that, and the other, like, let's get this person out. There's a bigger fish to fry. I think the struggle with Dakota is like we've seen when she gets confronted with certain things, mm-hmm. she shuts down, like completely is like gets in her head and everything like that. I mean, we see it in this episode. Nolan confronts her like, you're throwing my name out. And she's like, oh, you're so right. Like I should trust you and everything like that. And kind of just backpedals on the whole, everything she was constructing. So it's just, like Will said, hopefully this idol is an origin story that we see moving forward from her, because it's like you want her to get over this hump, and like it's like she's almost there and then just won't go over. And so hopefully we'll see something from her moving forward.
Yeah, and obviously she uses her idol, which doesn't have to, kind of baited into it by both Jimmy and Nolan during Tribal. I mean, the silver lining for her is that it did require Nolan to also play his, because for a second there, looked like Nolan might have still held on to his while she played hers unnecessarily. But it's a tough spot. I know I've been there in some of my early LRGs where I'm trying to be in the middle and then not picking a road to go down. And if you don't pick a road to go down, then you're just going to get cut. And so it's merge time. We're now down to the final 9. You have to make that choice. And
sorry, Dan, go ahead.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
I am just so happy. Like, this is why I picked Jimmy. I am so team villain. The fact that he did not manipulate Richie's feelings at the very end of Tribal like he had planned to, respect it. Fine. I might have done it, but respect it. So I think what we have to remember, and Jimmy said this to Richie in last week's episode, is like, this is a game and we sign up to play a game. And so there are no rules other than the ones that Devin has. So you can cheat, lie, steal, manipulate, gatekeep, girl boss, like gaslight. It doesn't matter. So for him to, yes, Richie, it's okay. We'll talk about it if you're actually mad. I'm still going to say what I'm going to say. For him to get her to play her idol and flush it, brilliant, because he already knew he lost the idol from Nolan. So now there's another one out there he could hopefully find. I have no idea why no one played his. I understand he thought his name was out there. I'll give him a little more credit this time than last time because Emily told him the first time, like, your name's not out there, don't play it. And then he played it. I still think he got way too scared this time. And really, but again, shout out to the King of the Snakes because he flushed 2 idols and now has a chance to get his back plus the power in his pocket. And having found 2 out of 4 advantages / idols so far, statistics are looking pretty good for my boy.
Yep. And end result of the tribal here is Joe unfortunately goes home. And so without further ado, let's bring on the man himself, house husband of Atlanta. Joe, how are you doing tonight?
What's up, guys? Doing good, doing good.
I love the Team Kitty shirt.
Okay.
Team Kitty was firing shots at each other tonight. You bring up Emily's name, and she did try to backtrack a little bit towards the end, but too little, too late. Where is the origin of the Team Kitty shirt?
Oh, I mean, I made this yesterday knowing that I was going to be on, and I'm like, oh, I was thinking about reprising the cute and horny, but then I was like, no, I need a Team Kitty. So, yeah.
You made it just for me. See, and this is why I don't regret drafting you at all.
Jimmy, I expect a shirt, even though you're not going to be on the pod because you'll be in the final. But Joe, I will say selfishly, I'm glad you're here after we lost Rebecca and Nosha Jamel. But obviously I was sad to lose you. I'm also selfishly glad because now Dan is down a member and he's been getting way too cocky for my liking.
Yeah.
Could have been Emily.
Quickly address the fantasy draft. I believe Team Amaris from Maris Week is the only one that has both members, Amelia and Nolan, still remaining. Joe, how are you doing? It just
great.
How have you been processing everything?
You know, it's really funny, like watching it all back. It's such like there are so many conversations that you're not a part of and like things that you're not aware of. And so your entire perception of the game changes. I mean, like I only know what I was there for, right? And then so I'm seeing all these confessionals and these like conversations, and even watching myself back, it's just like crazy feedback on how you play the game. So, and like these players are crazy. Like these guys are so hard. Like they go balls to the wall. And I mean, as you saw in this episode, complete chaos. Everyone was all over the place, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Was there anything for this round specifically, now watching back, that you think you could have tried to do differently to save yourself?
I mean, at this point, probably not. Just because it happened so quickly at the end. I mean, the decision was made literally during the live tribal council. So I don't think so. But I think what I would have done differently, watching it back, is I think I shouldn't have been too quick to just take the bait and latch on to the Richie vote the previous round. I think we should have seen him being pushed by so many of those villains, and we should have taken him in and taken him as a number for ourselves, because I think he would have flipped and have gone with a group of us. So I think that was a fatal mistake.
Do you think you could have pulled him away from Corey?
I don't know if I can pull him away from Corey, but definitely, like, I think he was ready to be done with Nolan, done with Dakota, maybe, so they were all ready to flip on him. I think, Emily was too. So, like, I think he would have found his footing in with us somewhere.
Well, Richie does say he wanted to flip, so could have been the move.
Yeah.
Well, so now you'll know next time when you come back the third time and play with Richie again.
Right on.
I have a question, Joe. I didn't mention this in the episode, but I'm glad that I get to ask you instead of making a comment. I noticed you and Amelia, which makes more sense to me for Amelia because I know she was out of a lot of the episode, were the only two people that weren't really involved in the live tribal. So like knowing your name was out there, I guess it's could go one of two ways how you want to answer it. Like A, why not participate? Or B, like, do you regret it? Like bouncing off Dan's question.
Yeah, I should have been more keen and I should have gotten up, and like I do regret not getting up in those conversations a little bit more. But I was whispering to Kira, who was next to me. I was whispering to Amelia, who was next to me. And so like I was kind of talking to my neighbors, but I wasn't really getting up and going around the circle and like finding these little pockets. Yeah, but shoulda, coulda, woulda.
And I will say, as someone who has played with you for, we made it to the end together.
Yeah.
In a traders game, that's also, I'm not terribly surprised. Like you really thrive on those individual relationships and that you trust the connections that you have. So that's also just you as a player. So, that's okay.
Yeah, true. I mean, my game is very individual, very one-on-one. I'm not the loudest voice in the group, so I tend to kind of take a back seat and play under the radar a bit. But I do have like solid personal connections with people to where they like me and trust me. And so that's kind of how I like to play. I think that's how I got voted back in Calm versus Chaos. Like every single person who was being voted off and coming to Exile Island or whatever the hell it was, like I was their best friend and hugging them and comforting them. So like I really thrive on that individual connection.
Julie still even talks about you, Joe. She goes, "Oh, I love Joe. I hope he's doing well."
Oh, I love Julie.
Yeah, I mean, even me, as bitter as I was getting voted off when you got back in, I was like, "Oh, Joe's back in. Okay, I'm fine."
Yeah.
Like everyone is rooting for you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you think you should have solved that one puzzle a little slower?
Okay. So I've thought about this, and you know what? No, because I got to have this moment of like utter joy. I was the biggest hero of that tribe for like 5 minutes, and it was just bliss. Like I wouldn't trade that for the world. I know it painted a target on my back, especially with Emily. Like she saw that and did not like it at all. She even told me to my face. She's like, "You freaked me out. Like
you're intimidating."
And so, it probably bit me in the ass a bit, but like getting the biggest bear hug from Vin, and like I thought he was gonna lift me through the ceiling. Like it was like one of the best moments. And so like I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade that back.
Yeah. And do you wish that you fixing Vin's futon was on camera?
That would have been a fun B-roll moment. We were like so tired that night, and we were just like, God, like, can we just lie down and rest for a minute? And Vin is struggling with this thing, and I'm like, it can't be that hard. Like, let's just pull the base. Like, it's God.
And he was so impressed.
So yeah, he was. I think I won him over in the end, but
he was still singing your praises when we talked to him.
Yeah. No, I love him. He was great. I wish I got more time with him. But yeah, unfortunately, like when we voted him out, we had to. And I knew going in, like we were getting close to emerge, and so going into it, I was like, I can't have the power couple. He'll go over there immediately. So yeah.
It was the smart move. And I was also wondering, just going off of the challenge practice, because you said you were practicing, and I think you sent me a picture too, well, to a couple of us, that you ordered those exact puzzles. and had multiple of them that you were practicing. And then there's also when you were doing the Rebus puzzles that the villains couldn't get eyeshadow on, you were like, we just did this for Decepticon. So I was just wondering, how much practice did you do for different challenges, and how did you manage to guess the exact ones Devin was going to have?
So regarding the hex puzzle, I have that puzzle. I use it in my own games. Like I run the game of Survivor in ATL. Look us up, Deception ATL.
I was gonna say, which is called Deception. As we know, the what is it? Studies like to come up with names like second chances and ledgers. So excuse them, Joe.
Hold on. It is called Deception, but Joe, is it not called Decepticon, the event that you hold?
Yes, yes. So yes, we are Deception ATL. We run Survivor ATL, Traders ATL, and maybe more games in the future. But we actually run these games at a convention, a gaming convention called Decepticon, and that's here in Atlanta. And so like it's really awesome because like the pre-merge boots, like they just go play other games at the con at that point. Like it you know, they get to experience you know, a lot of games. So it's not just like a total waste if they show up and get out early. No, going back to your question, like I run Survivor ATL, and so like that's one of the puzzles I've used. I've used it a few times in my games. I probably need to retire it now, but I remember studying for Calm versus Chaos. I think it was in New Blood where this puzzle was used, and I was like, oh well, if these guys have this puzzle, there's a good chance it'll be reused. And so I knew it for Calm versus Chaos. Had it shown up, it didn't. And then like that morning, Ben messaged me at 5:30. He was like, dude, your flight's canceled. And I'm like scrambling to rebook and everything. And as I was like, because I had a super early flight, so I was up. And then I rebooked to like a later flight that morning. And then I'm like, well, while I'm sitting here waiting, I'm going to practice a puzzle. And so I dug that one out and I memorized the solution. And yeah. But yeah, like I'm constantly like thinking about these puzzles because I put them in my own game. And so that's kind of my preparation for that.
Yeah, and for those wondering how Jimmy and Ben ended up on the Heroes Tribe, it's because they helped get Joe to the game this time around with all the flight trouble. I think that was the one defining quality. They're like, okay, fine, you're heroes. We got it.
Yes, they're absolute heroes. I mean, the 5:30 a.m. wake up call from Ben, and then the ride from Jimmy at, you know, he picked me up at O'Hare and we drove up. Like that was, I mean, they saved me. So shout out to them.
Also, Corey thinks your work from home setup is baller, by the way.
Oh, thanks, Corey.
Oh, and Jimmy did say it was entirely Ben for what it's worth. So I guess more credit to Ben than Jimmy.
Yeah, no, Ben put us in a conversation. I think Amaris was in the chat too, in case I needed to go to Milwaukee. So like I had options.
We're like, we need Joe for this season. Yeah. We are going to make sure he is there.
Yeah. So I'm glad I was. I mean, God, I can't imagine not being there.
Well, Jamil, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare I what?
Be the one to push Joe's name at the first tribal we were ever at together.
Well, you know, things had to happen. And I think you said it in your voting confessional, Dan, that you said that this was a good name to push. And you were like, if it couldn't be. So don't try to put it all. I mean, it was me, but you know, it is what it is, man. He got back in the game and, you know.
And beat both of us. Yes.
Exactly. So, you know, his missed, I guess.
Karma.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, Joe.
Yep.
Did you, coming into this game from your first season, were you coming in with any like new strategies that you kind of had, or were you kind of like gonna play the same game you did in your prior season, or like what was your strategy coming in?
my strategy coming in was definitely to latch on to Kira. I knew from watching New Blood and Second Chance, like she was someone that I wanted to work with immediately. And then definitely, like, I mean, Jimmy and Ben, obviously, I wanted to work with. And so I had a strategy of who I wanted to start with and then see how alliances like shook out from there. I wanted to play with people from like the old era, like I really wanted to work with Connor, and then they were like, it's gonna be Connor, and I'm like, fuck, like I wanted, you know, and then the same, I mean, like I worked with Vin a little bit, but not really, you know, like it, so it's like, I mean, I guess we got to be friends, but like it never was like, and I wanted a chance to work with Richie at Merge, and then it was like immediately Richie, and I'm like, every like secondary alliance that I wanted to have never happened because they ended up being the target.
Yeah, well, especially then if you're already thinking before meeting anyone, you're like, well, I want to work with Kira, I want to work with Jimmy, I want to work with Ben, and then you see your tribe and they're all there, then you don't really have many other options of who to vote out if all your people you were already thinking of working with ended up being on your tribe.
Yeah.
But you were able to get an alliance going with Emma, and so it looked like to us watching, then your closest alliance ended up being both Kira and Emma. Would you say that's accurate then?
Yeah, for sure.
The girls and the gay.
Yeah, so then you got to work with someone slightly new. I know Emma was around to take pictures during Calm vs. Chaos, but I don't know how much any of us really got to talk to her during that time. So then you still got to work with someone new that leapfrogged Jimmy and Ben for you at least. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to go to the end with those two girls. And then I think at Merge, like I wasn't ready to, you know, I wasn't ready to like immediately like push Jimmy or Ben. So I was gonna hold on to them for at least another round and then backstab them. But I mean, they got to me first, so I got my gal.
Well, Dan and Jamil had their question, and my favorite question is who we all thought was serving the ImmuniTEA and who we think is on the bottom. I can go first. I don't want to dogpile, but I'm a little bit worried about Dakota. My logic behind this is that she has made it very clear multiple episodes that she doesn't know who to trust, and trusting Emily, and finding out that Emily told everyone about the idol and then losing the idol because Jimmy played with her. I think might crash the fuck out and just is going to be difficult for them to pull in as an extra vote. I think she's just going to spiral. And if you don't know who to trust, how can you play Survivor? I think my ImmuniTEA winner, to no surprise, hiss, it's Jimmy. The fact that people wanted to vote him out, couldn't do it. The fact that he got two people to flush their idols and found a power all in the same episode. King of the Snake, hashtag Team Will.
Yes. Okay. So I should think about mine. I thought I had an answer at one point.
I can go while you think, Dan.
Yeah. Well, don't say who's on the bottom for Joe or Jamil, but say who you thought was serving the ImmuniTEA.
No, I'm straight up basing it off of what happened this episode. And I have to actually give it to Corey. I think, you know, the last round, Jimmy threw that hanky vote on to Corey, trying to intimidate him and being like, Corey, you know, I need to wake him up and make him, you know, think he's going to play with the big dogs or whatever. But then, like, who ended up being pressured in the end was Jimmy by Corey. So, and, you know, and then so I was sacrificed because of it. So I give it to Corey.
Yeah, I will second Joe. I do think Corey definitely was serving the immunity. Kind of how I was saying in the basis. I think, Corey had the initial idea in the bathroom chat to like, let's switch the name, but didn't really serve the name up on a platter and kind of let the other idiots, if those are his idiots, I don't know if they are. I don't know who's idiots and who's not at this point. But
Jamil updates. Jamil is trying to figure out who the idiots are.
But Corey really, I love the way Corey delivered on it and just let other people kind of take the lead in that, but kind of divert attention off of the main names that are being said. And like I said, even though it wasn't really caught on camera, we do get it in Corey's confessional that obviously uses the time of being immune to go build that social bond with Amelia, make sure she's okay, and build that personal connection. And I think that's very pivotal. Like when you know you're safe, you have the time to really not have to worry about your name being on the chopping block and just kind of building your social like status in the game. So Corey definitely is serving the immunity for me.
Yeah, and as soon as Joe started talking, I looked at my notes and Corey's the name I had circled. So I'm going to look like I'm just copying the general consensus now, but it is based off of the same reasons that you guys had. And also because of everyone else, I feel like had something that was a con for them this round. I thought Emily was having a very good round again, but I guess the reason why I give it to Corey over Emily is, well, Corey got what he wanted rather than what Emily wanted this time around. Whereas Emily started to push for Jimmy instead of Joe, and Corey said, "I don't want that." What's the face? Will you disagree with that?
I don't think she had a good episode. I think the fact that
that's why I said she's not getting it.
Go ahead.
I said she was in contention until that happened. Will,
the girls are fighting.
I'm just saying she didn't include Dakota. She didn't include Corey. Like, how are you going to push a plan and then not even include your Alex? What are you doing, girl?
I think she was trying to by the end, but it was so last second.
This entire season. But this episode, flop. She ate ass, and not in a fun way.
Listen.
I agree with both sides. I think Emily could have had a good, like, had she had the time. So like I agree and disagree at the same time.
No, you're on prod. How much time did they have to deliberate? She had the time.
It was
Dan.
And Will,
if you're gonna gas someone up, it can be Corey. So go ahead. Tell
I was going to, if you just let me finish a thought. I was saying that's why Emily didn't get it. I felt up to that point when she was also pushing for Joe, but then she flips to wanting it to be Jimmy and can't successfully push that. And that's why she was excluded from contention for me. Jimmy being able to also avoid the vote, maybe in contention finds an advantage, but he doesn't have his idol. Can't save himself. He has to just default to what everyone else is voting for. So yeah, I'm going with Corey because Corey got what he wanted and really didn't have to do much this episode to make it happen. And I know that Nolan also wanted house husband out. Sorry, Joe. But Nolan also played his idol when he didn't have to. And I don't know how Jimmy feels about Nolan now. I don't know that it matters how Jimmy feels because Jimmy doesn't really have any strong allies at this point. But Corey is still in a good position, but I do think people will notice that he's a threat. People weren't saying his name because he was immune. So we'll see what happens next round. But I think Corey's been playing a great game so far, and it was a good episode for him to get back on track after he had to sacrifice Richie in the previous episode.
Yeah, and that moment where he was standing there and he basically led them to the conclusion of Joe, like without saying my name, brilliant. Like that was so good.
Yeah. And as far as who I think is currently on the bottom,
also not in the fun way.
Correct.
Who else but Will?
Correct. I think, it's going to be a tough spot for Dakota to recover from right now, just because of playing her idol. But it depends on this relationship with Emily and how burned she feels by Emily. And if Emily feels that Dakota's been burned by her, she might be more willing to cut Dakota loose at this point, which would be bad for Dakota. Because those are her main allies, are really Emily and Corey at this point. I think everyone else would be okay with letting her go. So it's going to be a tough spot for her to recover from. I would say Amelia also doesn't have as many connections, but I think that Amelia is kind of under the radar for right now. And I think establishing a closer bond with Corey helps her for this round 2. And people like Ben and Nolan, it just in general, she's well liked and people aren't going to want to vote her out. So I think, yeah, for right now, I think Dakota's at the bottom, but that could still change if people still want to vote out another big target. I mean, maybe they got out Joe. Maybe they're like, okay, we can go for someone in the middle now. Or maybe they still want to target Jimmy. Because right now, Jimmy, again, doesn't have any real close connections. But yeah, I think that's where it's at for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think Amelia's in a really, really good spot. I think obviously no one, well, maybe not obviously, but no one in this cast is using emotions as a weapon. I've seen people very much take advantage of other people's emotions in the opposite way. By having, like the kind of the pity, feel bad for me, so keep me around for a couple rounds. That's obviously not what she's doing, but it still is going to play an advantage if we just call a spade a spade. But regardless, I think Amelia clocked it without getting too derailed from this season. But in Second Chance, like a lot of us were friends, and so we did play the friend game, and so she got the short end of the stick. I think now that this season is a lot more balanced with people who are friends, people who aren't friends, people who have met, people who haven't met, she's able to use her very strong social skills to integrate a lot better. It's not to circle back, but I will always give my Queen Amelia her flowers because I think she's playing a great season, and I'm so glad to see this compared to 9. I'm really, really proud of her.
And I forgot to say when we started serving the ImmuniTEA, but if people have questions for Joe, start sending them now so we can get to them.
I will ask one, Joe, that Devin will probably ask because he asks it every single week, but I think it's a fun one. If you were to come back for another WizCo season, what theme or themes would you be interested in coming back for?
Ooh, I would love a blood versus water.
Everyone keeps saying that. Dev, I think this is your time.
I could bring an ATL friend and we could crush it.
Girl, bring the husband. You're the house husband. Where's the husband?
Oh my gosh, no, he hates this shit.
I would align with him so fast to backstab you and vote you off.
I literally went to like 2 Survivor 50 events last 2 nights in a row, and I'm doing this, and then Monday was the previous episode, and he's like, I never see you anymore, you're doing all the Survivor shit.
Catch up.
I told Dan I literally am playing 2 games in a row, then Philly Pride, then Ledgers, and then I'm hosting my own Queer Survivor. So I have like 4 out of 5 weeks in a row of LRGs. I've never done more than like maybe 2 a month, but never in a row, let alone like all of that. Yeah. So I'm with you. You get the bug. It's hard to get rid of it.
Trinity clocked it. I was gonna say, Will, Ledgers? Plural?
I intentionally say it now that Trinity says it. It's the one I'll give her. It's Ledgers. It's not Ledger. I refuse to say second chances. It's second chance, but it's Ledgers. Yeah, I'm excited to play Ledgers.
Do you have a feeling on calling it the merge or the merger? Because that's an old school thing too.
Who the hell says the merger? I've never heard that. And whoever
that's the way it used to be like in the old days.
The old days, because of that's like a business term.
Will's killing me.
We've got a question from Richie for you, Joe. Who do you think should get a second chance that hasn't gotten one yet?
I haven't answered this, but Joe, go first because it was for you.
Ooh.
I've been saying this person for months.
Oh, I don't know. You go ahead. Well, let me think a second.
Linda, bring Linda back. Having played Zoom Traders, shout out Nolan Zoom Traders with Linda. She is so unhinged. I love that woman. I want to play another season, our season of, I forgot we were never on the same season. I want to play a season with Linda. She is so cool.
That's a great pick. If I had to give my pick for it, definitely I'd give it to Julie from Calm vs. Chaos. Love me Julie. She's amazing. Met her in person. Would love to see her get another chance to play the game.
Of course, you played with her. Of course, you met her in person.
Well, I met her outside. Man, I met her after the game in person.
After he voted her off.
Sorry to cut you off, Joe. You could give your answer.
Yeah, no, I was actually gonna say Julie as well. I mean, like it's hard for me because I really haven't seen a lot of the seasons, and so like my experience is just really Calm versus Chaos, and the pool from that group is very, limited.
A lot of us played. Yeah.
Because a lot of us have been back already. But I would say Julie. Yeah.
I know she's hesitant to come back. She was asked, but didn't want to at the time or was too busy at the time. But I know I'm going to clip this and send to her because she doesn't believe me when I say how much we all love her and want to see her play again. She's like, I didn't play well at all. What are you talking about?
No, she was great. And like,
I know
one of the first things that she said to us was like, I'm looking for like people who are serious about helping this tribe. Like she's like mommed us all. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Like I'm here. I am a servant of this tribe. Like we are going to crush this challenge. Don't think that I'm not in this for a second. Like she put the fear of God in all of us.
I will also put a plug that if we do Blood versus Water, I know that Ben's mom is an avid fan of this show, and that they have talked. He has told me him and Ruth have talked about applying to games in the DMV where she lives. I feel like she would fly out for this. So that's another plug, Dev, that I really think we should do Blood versus Water. However, I'm putting it now. I love you all, but we're not having both studies in this game. That is bullshit.
It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't, because let me tell you, Trinity would probably be the one to play and not me. And she wants to play with her dad, which I think he would be hilarious to have play. So I guarantee you, I am not her first choice for a Blood versus Water season. So
Trinity.
All right, we have a question from Trinity. Speak of the devil. Joe, did you feel like a worm or a snake while playing HVV?
What is this question?
I think it's in reference to what Kayla said about Richie.
I mean, I have a spine.
So snake it is.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, let's see. So I'm catching up on questions now. Did we have one?
I saw it's not a question, but I saw Jimmy mentioned what do you call it? Rivals. I still say that's another one. I bring Atticus back, get him out of retirement. I will ride with my boy Atticus into the sunset.
Well, you got a lot of choices for rivals.
Who? It's Atticus and Nick. Everyone loves me.
Girl, what about Kayla?
Oh, I'm Kayla. I'm Maris.
You keep making more rivals too. Joe,
I'm literally, I've made it my mission to get a rival out of every single person who I know is cast on letters before even we have the pregame group chat. I'm
great.
I mean, if I came back for rivals, I would come on with Nolan.
Oh, I was going to ask, who would be your rival? And I guess it would be Nolan. I think Nolan's got his own list of rivals too.
Enough to have one?
You said what, Will?
I said, who would be your rival? Did you last long enough to have one?
Well, fuck. It's all right.
Jamil would be me.
Probably.
Yeah. And Amelia's mom would also play Blood versus Water.
Period.
So
Amelia, if your mom is half as funny as you are, I would literally pay both of your entry fees. I don't even care. I need that in my life.
She will be on your screen soon.
I cannot wait.
The Challenge Wisconsin plug. Okay, let's see. No question, guys. Where are I guess maybe we asked all the good questions to Joe earlier.
I think it's also a smaller. Like Ben doesn't seem like he's here. Like some of the regulars that are more the talkers.
The regulars.
We have regulars. We have regular viewers. Jealous, Jamal?
No, I'm one of them. I'm here every episode. The fuck.
Is this the question? I missed a Devin question. Would it be this one? How many returning seasons featuring you all are we doing? Seasons 15 through 30? That doesn't feel like an actual question.
I don't know. Hey, run in the other room and ask your wife what she's trying to say.
Well, no, Devin has said that I missed his also. So that's why I was wondering, unless there was a different one.
Oh, it said it was for Joe Long. What was the question for Joe Long? Say it again.
It was long for Joe. It's a long ass question. Okay, fine. Let me scroll. Just give me a second to scroll, guys. Enter scrolling music here or something. Here.
The background music that Devin plays every episode.
All right. Yeah. Joe, I really appreciate your impact on our game and your contributions. What has made you so connected to our community to want to come all the way from Atlanta to play now twice So awesome, heart to heart.
Clip this and put it on Instagram. Seriously.
Yes. I mean, it like the community is awesome. This game, like, it's my very first LRG I ever played. I've only played Survivor twice. It was Calm versus Chaos and Heroes versus Villains. And so this is like my first love, you know, almost. And so like I love this community. I love the banter on the Discord all the time. But the production quality of this too, like compared to other LRGs that I've seen, is phenomenal. Like the episode editing is amazing, but like from the title cards, the graphics, to the teasers that we get, to the updates of like, you guys are gonna want to see the, like, all the hype that they put behind it, like, it's so good. And I see how much energy and effort goes into that. It is not like that is not missed at all. Like, it's incredible. And so like props to Devin and Christian for like putting together a great community, a great game. Like they should be very proud of what they've built.
Yeah, and I think you would know some of that firsthand, how difficult that is, you know, running Deception Atlanta and having to look through the video and try and piece it together.
It's not easy. And like doing all the social media stuff, like, it sucks. I hate it. It's hard, and you know, it's so time consuming. So like it's really impressive.
I'm
really
sure Will can attest to that too, running the social media for his LRGs now too.
Girl, I hate it. I like I am getting a little bit better because I can schedule post. But yeah, it's rough. And I know Richie made a comment about, I will hit you up, Richie, about running Queer Survivor. I now run 2 LRGs and I can barely keep up with the one Instagram, and now I gave myself the challenge of a second. So yeah, I give a lot of credit to Wizco that they're not only on top of the editing, which if you watch Center Stage, very hard to do. I learned Dan had the background tea of me texting him like, why is this taking 16,000 hours to edit this damn episode? And it still came out clunky as hell. But the Instagram on top of it, all the graphics, I'm very impressed. I give them a lot of credit for how much work they put in.
Yeah, and I would say too, oh, sorry for cutting you off, but I just want to say too, like, you know, keep reaching out and casting people from out of the area to come in, because, you know, like, you're building a nationwide presence that way. Because I'm talking about it here, like, it's the craziest thing. I was at the Ron Clark event last night, and some random guy came up to me and was like, "Are you Joe from Survivor Wisconsin?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, do you have too much time on your hands? What are you doing? And he's like, "No, I'm watching it and it's great." And like, like pulling for the heroes. And I'm like, this is so crazy. Like, but you know,
like, I got bad news about tomorrow's episode.
But I mean, it just goes to show you like how well they're like advertising themselves and promoting the brand. So it's great.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to see. Like, yeah, they pump out like 4 seasons that get hosted a year, which is fucking insane for an LRG. Like, it's like the turnaround time is like boom, 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 boom. So like, really got to give like props where props are due. And like Joe said, like, the word of mouth that all of us have, like, obviously we're all spreading the word and everything like that. And I think it's growing slowly but surely. And as more of these newbie seasons are coming up, like, we're going to see it grow exponentially for sure. And you know, it is crazy. Like, you'll get noticed in like me and Kira got noticed at Pop. Shout out Pop and Iconica for noticing us as a fan. That was, you know, crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The community's great, and you know, couldn't be more grateful for, you know, Devin and Christian. Like, they pull it together, and you know, love to see that we're going strong, and it's just getting stronger from here. So
yeah, we kind of already covered this. Sorry, moving on to the next question. Christian asked how your journey was to Wisconsin. I'm assuming he's talking about your flight troubles that we kind of covered.
The day of. I mean, yeah, it started with the wake up call at 5:30 from Ben, who was like, "Dude, your flight's canceled." And I'm like, And so like, you know, getting thrown into that conversation with Jimmy and Amaris, and then rebooking my flight, and then getting in just in time. Jimmy like swings through with his van, this big ass van, and I like jump in, and he is hauling ass all the way up there, and we get there just like right after 5 p.m. when we're all supposed to be there to start the social hour. And like there were probably like 5 times on the way up where Jimmy's like, hey guys, I have to pee. I'm like so anxious right now, like I have to pee. And I'm like, this man pees so much. And at one point, even when we got like close, like we were in the Dells, he was like, there's no gas station, I'm just gonna pull off to the side of the road
behind a tree.
But yeah, I mean, it was like Mr. Toad's wild ride getting there. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah. Then you got there, and then Kyle's like, let's vote that guy out.
Yeah, that asshole. No, I love Kyle. I actually sat him down the round after that, and I was like, let's have a heart-to-heart. Like, I know you came after me, but like, you know, anything can happen. We could get swapped, and the two of us could be together, like, and we might need to protect each other. So like, even though like you wrote my name down, and you know, like it doesn't mean that we can't you know, be friends or work together in the future. So no, Kyle's a great guy.
He is. Cody, I believe winner of the original Heroes vs. Villains, Cody, he asks you, what was your favorite challenge you participated in?
Definitely not touchy subjects. Yeah, I am not a fan of touchy subjects, but I mean, hands down, it's got to be the puzzle, because that's where I had my moment, right? And it was the highlight of my Survivor career. No, absolutely.
For touchy subjects, I was curious because we talked about it a little earlier when about who ran the Richie vote, and you, Jimmy, and Ben all answered Dakota. Did you guys discuss that answer before you answered it, or did you all just come to Dakota as your answer?
No, we couldn't talk to each other during that time. Like when we went to answer the quiz, we were like, we were there together, but we weren't allowed to talk about what we were doing or game at that point. I think we just watched Sabrina Carpenter music videos the entire time.
Yeah, we watched a lot of Sabrina Carpenter.
Favorite Sabrina Carpenter song, Joe?
Ooh, Espresso?
Classic.
Yeah.
I did have some responses from both Devin and Christian. You made Devin cry. He appreciates you so much.
I love you guys.
And Christian also says it means a lot coming from you, sincerely.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, it speaks for itself. Like it's these guys do a really, really great job, and I love it. So
also, Devin says the next LRG he plays will be yours if you cast him.
All right, there's locked in. Let's do it.
Rig it for Devin?
What's that?
Will you rig it for Devin?
Well, no, I will not rig it.
Camera, Dan.
I know.
As much as I'm an honest player, I'm also an honest production host, and I think I run a good game and a fair game.
Richie also wants to tag along with Devin, but I don't know that will Devin still want to play?
I also texted Devin and said that fuck center stage, right? And so he said Deception will be his third. So I'm sorry, Joe. My miss.
Oh. Will's always got to be the favorite.
I'm hearing villains are now Joe and Will.
Yeah, he can tell me after who runs the better game then.
Great. Game on.
Wait, Devin for Queer Survivor?
I mean, he did wear that Sabrina Carpenter t-shirt all weekend. So
Richie did ask me about Queer Survivor, but I'm probably falling in the suit of Survivor DC and Gay Survivor New York, which is casting only people in the area, but never say never.
All right. I think we are out of questions unless I missed one. Everyone can yell at me again if I missed a question. But
it's right around the time when we wrap up. That's okay.
Yeah, I was like, we're at like an hour and a half. I know yet last week or Monday was a little bit longer.
I wonder why.
Do we have final thoughts we want to cover with Joe before he's banished from our screens?
I think, I don't know if we asked Richie this. Dan might not think this is a fair question, but I think it is. At this point, when you were eliminated, not factoring in everything you know, who were you hoping would make it to the end, vote for, things like that?
Kira, hands down.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
I figured her or Emma or both. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she and Emma were my favorite, my favorite two. They were my core. And out of those two, like, Kira was number one. So,
Joe, we keep trying to help our girl. I mean, who knows? Maybe she'll make it, but we didn't.
Right. But you know what? I mean, going out, 2 idols played. I'm expensive.
That's right. I actually had a question I just thought of that I forgot earlier was who would struggle the most at Final Tribal Council? Touchy subjects. People said you.
Yes.
Do you think that would be the case?
I don't.
No, I don't think so either.
It's funny. I even wrote my own name down for when I answered that question. I don't think I have the best sales pitch when it comes to promoting myself. I don't know, like I have something weird about like not seeming like I'm bragging or something like that. And so I can definitely see where I could get tripped up maybe on some tough questions from the jury. And so I can see where it comes from for sure. It's not necessarily to say I would do poorly, but I think I could struggle a bit for sure.
And then if you stumble, you just take out that puzzle again and be like, you want to see me do it again?
Right. Yeah. Like, give me that. Don't ask me the hard questions.
It's like on touchy subjects, everyone's answer was Ben. Whenever any jury member asks you a question, you just pull out the puzzle and that's your answer. Just do the puzzle.
And also,
Richie
did chime in, since we didn't ask him last week, that Corey was still the highest on his list for who he would have voted for at the end at the time he was eliminated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Richie was very hurt, but I don't think that I think you all know, or if you don't, I hate the term bitter juror. I think it's emotional juror, and people just don't always know how to pander to an emotional jury. But yeah, I don't think that Richie's someone that would vote against Corey, even if he was hurt. So it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Richie says he doesn't vote bitter anyways.
Yeah, I don't think there's such a thing, but that's my hot take that a lot of people disagree with.
All right, then any last questions from you, Jamil?
No, I mean, Joe, it was great to see you play. Hopefully this isn't the last time we see you in Wisco. Would love to see you again. So hopefully this wasn't the last ride you take out here. Yeah,
I mean, if I get the call, I will answer. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I actually got to do what I set out to do, which was to play the front half of this game through, because I didn't get to do that my first time. And so getting to actually make it to merge all the way without relying on that battle back was really my goal. And then anything beyond that was extra, so I achieved what I set out to. And so I'm happy with how it was.
Yeah, it was great watching you, Joe. Thanks for coming on and joining us. I know it's just as late for you as it is for Will. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And if we ever meet again, I promise I won't vote you out this time.
Thank you.
Free gaming.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of
Well, I
course.
appreciate
And
you, Joe. And next week, because Devin wants to continue to screw with my schedule, we are on Tuesday night for the next exciting episode of Survivor Wisconsin Heroes versus Villains 2.0. And we will be joined by a special guest. We'll find out.
see. Maybe
We
2,
know.
maybe 3.
You don't know. My guy. But I love Richie. But we, regardless, will hopefully have the next eliminated player, TBD by Devin. And no matter what, you will have me, Dan, and a whole lot of ImmuniTEA. So we will see you on Tuesday.
See you again. Good night, everyone. Thanks to both
Goodbye.
Jamil and Joe for joining us.
Of course.
Good
Of
night.
course.
Till Tuesday.